Welcome to the video lesson on the agricultural revolution. This lesson is going to help us answer our question, one of our life questions, on how do people adapt to their environment. Neolithic times. After the Ice Age ended, Earth's temperature rose and many nomads moved into areas with mild climate and fertile land. People began to stay in one place to grow grains and vegetables. Farming replaced hunting and gathering. People began to domesticate or tame animals for human use. Consider what you've seen on 21st century farms. Domesticated animals might include horses or cattle, which are used to provide milk or meat for human beings. This change marked the beginning of the Neolithic Age. If you take a look at this diagram down here, hunting and gathering was replaced by farming, which you've also seen known as systematic agriculture, a system in which people are regularly farming to meet their needs. The Neolithic Age was lasted from around 8,000 BC to 4,000 BC. The shift from hunting and gathering to food production did not happen quickly. It was gradual, as some people continued to hunt and gather into the time period. Farming caused a revolution or an enormous change. There is no one year where the Neolithic Revolution happened. People began farming in different places at different times. However, the effects were enormous. They were able to produce a constant food supply, which led to population growth, which makes sense, right? People were not dying because they didn't have enough food or couldn't feed themselves. Having a steady supply of food allows people to have bigger families, more kids, and more survival rates. This eventually leads to nomads living in settled communities around their systematic agriculture or their food supply. This diagram, or this line graph, is an example of how population exploded after the agricultural revolution. By 4000 BC, farming was an established economic activity in Europe. Around 6000 BC, farming wheat and barley began around the Nile Valley in Egypt. It soon spread to regions in Africa. By 6000 BC, people in northern China were growing millet and domesticating dogs and pigs. In the Western Hemisphere, people began growing corn and other crops in Mexico and Central America between 7000 and 6000 BC. So you can see that farming did grow, but these are over a couple of thousands of years. This is what I mean by gradual change. This map shows you some of the crops that were grown in different areas of the world in the early to mid Neolithic times. During the Neolithic Age, people settled in villages near fields where they could farm and water sources such as rivers. One of the oldest villages was Jericho, near the modern-day West Bank of Israel. By 8000 BC, it extended across several acres and had houses with thick walls. Another well-known Neolithic community was Cattle Hayek in present-day Turkey. They had homes through which they entered from the roof and shrines with images of gods and goddesses. Religion had a growing role in the lives of Neolithic people and Neolithic communities. There were many benefits of settled life. Greater security, because you didn't have to move all the time to hunt and gather. You were able to remain safe because you were able to build up a community that protected you and your family and your tribe. Steady food supplies led to healthier, growing populations, which led to more available workers and a food surplus. All of these factors led to specialization. This is going to be key for the growth of civilizations. In specialization, people took up specific or specialized jobs. For example, artisans made weapons or jewelry. People made pottery from clay or baskets from plant fibers. People were able to exchange goods between different groups. And this eventually led to gender roles. Different roles between men and women included men working in the fields, women weaving cloth, and managing food supplies. By the end of the Neolithic Age, people made more technological advantages. They began to work with metal, including copper. Craftspeople in Western Asia discovered that mixing copper and tin made bronze, which was a stronger metal. Therefore, the years 3000 to 1200 BC became known as the Bronze Age. However, not that many people were wealthy enough to use bronze during that time. It's going to be, reserved for the wealthy and the powerful. As a result of the Neolithic Revolution and specialization, civilizations began to emerge. Humans continued to develop more complex cultures or ways of life. and these small communities grew into civilizations. Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and China all emerged around 3000 BC. All of these civilizations have a few key factors. They have cities and governments, they have religion, they have an organized social structure, and they have writing and art. In our next unit, we'll look into Mesopotamia and Egypt, and then India and China, and just to kind of analyze how these civilizations developed.